Hello and welcome. We're looking for $2 million homes around the country. If you want to see links to any of these homes, they'll be in the description, hopefully, if they haven't been sold yet. But here we go. This time, it is Maryland. So Maryland, our first house up was kind of an aged beauty. This house was from 1823, and that's the cool thing about houses on the East Coast is that you see a lot of historical residences, and this one is located up in the north of Baltimore. So, and it also has nine acres. So it was a good setup, and they did a really good job of modernizing it because. I mean, the kitchen is a little small. Okay, I say that, but the kitchen is a little small. But I like the sunroof they put in, and added a lot of space to some of these older homes can be kind of very compartmentalized. But they were able to open it up a little bit, and it has lots of bedrooms. It was just a nice property. You gotta like your wine, and even a little table to test it right there. And a little pool house. It was just a very stately over these nice rolling acres, and you can have cow friends. So moving on. This house was located, I don't know where to say that, on the peninsula across from the bay. But it was also, I think, a fairly old. This one was from 1848, which just cracks me up. I always like that from the standpoint of they're well built if they've been around for hundreds of years. And it also had some acres. It had 16 acres, and they put in kind of a little funky pool, but you have a huge barn and area for the horses. Normally, I don't go for barns and stables and things, but I really sometimes they just have them, and it's a nice feature. But they also went through and kind of lightened everything up, and but still left some beams, which I like. And again, just nice acreage to look over across the land. I don't think it had any really big surprises. It did have some access to a river. Oh yeah. So the barn did have an interesting kind of upstairs that could be used for events or that sort of thing, and it was right next to this river here. So those were some nice features. You can go kayaking down the river. So this was over on the other side of. So you could get to the ocean from this house, and it's not far from the beaches over here. So that was a good feature of it in general. But you had water access to this bay. There wasn't a lot of choices for homes directly on the water for $2 million, so those must be at a higher price point. And so this one, the only thing that would concern me is that how high do the waters get? But this seems pretty well prepared for it. So it just had a nice dock and access to everything. It was a little high on the price for what it is. I did like all this openness. This one was made in 96, so very open for 96 actually. So you can definitely have your big party and see everyone in attendance. And again, like the sunroof to it. The kitchen looks very 96 though. So there you go. And a pool table downstairs, more entertaining. So it's a house set up for that kind of entertaining, and does it pretty well, and it's connected. I mean, that's not its pool, but there's a club nearby. The club. Moving on. So this one is also over in the peninsula. These didn't rank as high because it's just I think I'd rather be closer to DC or Baltimore, but there were definitely some nice houses on the water. And this had a good pool with a little hot tub and an excellent dock with a lift, which is important, and was well under $2 million, so you could buy a boat. Boats are expensive, though. Even small yachts can be over $2 million. So it's kind of crazy. This one I'm thinking, yeah, this was 97. So it has that whole, you can kind of tell by the kitchens and the way the woodwork goes, often ages the houses a little bit. It was just kind of that time. But it was just a pretty big house. I like these. I don't think you need to have the whole entertainment rooms are kind of funny. Oh, water closet. And it had an outdoor covered area too, which I appreciate because I burn really easy. And there you go. So fun in Maryland. Moving on. So this house was located, and this I like this location because it's like an hour from DC and an hour from Baltimore. So you have access to both, but then you also have access to the water. So it was a good combination. The house itself was just kind of, I don't know, we get into the more modern houses where they don't put as much. You can't bring your big boat up to the dock though. So yeah, that's a good sized boat. So it was deep enough for that. The house itself was a little, kind of don't like this whole sharing of parking lots business. But, so let's guess the date. The date on it was 2001. So you can almost call it a 90s house. It was conceived in the 90s. How about that? But it had a downstairs entertainment area and downstairs bar, and then their little viewing room, which I wonder how often these actually get used if you're just doing casual viewing, if you're not having an official movie night. But anyway, so moving on. So this house I really like because it just, I don't know if craftsman's the word, but it was just a unique design that I hadn't seen before, and I've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of houses in this price point. And this was located north of Baltimore, so you still have access to DC and Baltimore really easy. And it, just the interiors and everything they did with all the woodwork was, much more than they had to. I like the bookcases, and just in a hallway, they made a hallway interesting. And I mean, that with the whole brickwork of everything on that fireplace is it's just a nice setting, the smaller bricks, so it takes more for that. This interior and the hardwood floors and open spaces, so it has a craftsman approach to the modern aesthetic that everybody wants. And the kitchen is big, and there's plenty of space, and it just opens right up into the living room. And they just did such a good job with everything in this. I think I like this the decking where you can just sit on the deck and it's covered, so you're covered from the elements. And this sunroom, this is where my wife and my daughter would be, because they'd be in here reading all the time. So this was another just, they have two fabulous fireplaces in here, because I also like this wood or stone fireplace quite a bit. But every step is just, they did such a good job adding more to it than just your basic install. I love the tiles in there. You have your tub. I think the only knock was, I do like the roof patio too. Is a great addition. There's so much going on in this house. I think the only kind of knocks was, and it had a workshop too, so that I liked as well. I think this is a great place that, you could get all your tools out, get everything dirty, and not having to worry about putting it away. And just a super huge, you can store all your wood and all your raw materials. It's just a great place. So cool. I don't know if it had too much. It had 5 acres. That's pretty good. So I really enjoyed that house quite a bit. This one had 26 acres, and it had a pool and a tennis court. It was a little bit boring on the land, and it was located just west of Baltimore, so still easy access to Baltimore and DC. But it had a tennis court with the basketball stripings, And external barns, this large area, I'm not sure what that was for. But maybe a first attempt at a tennis court. Or maybe it was going to be a basketball court or a bocce court. Who knows? But definitely a pleasant drive up to it. Let's see if our little 1925. So an old house that they redid pretty well. So they did a good job of opening up this house and making it more accessible and more. That's kind of weird. Kind of kitchen in a hallway. A little strange. But it's just not as nice tailored as the last house. But you definitely have a nice entertainment area, a little wine cellar, and a mystery room down there. Who knows what that is? And I'll get you 4 bedrooms and a barn and a place. If you wanted your horses, you'd have this area for your horse riding. So definitely pretty good land. Moving on. So this one I liked a lot. So this was, again, it was that area that was about an hour from DC and an hour from Baltimore-ish, both ways, still on the water. And it was I think it was built in 1940. So they definitely did a good job upkeeping it and modernizing it. I like the porches of it. So you have like the older grandeur with the newer setup. And they definitely updated the kitchen for sure. And it has, flows out to the seating area. That has a TV next to the table so people don't need to talk to each other. Ugh. Just kidding. This dock has lifts for both jet skis and boats, which is actually a very cool thing. It does not have a pool, which is kind of weird. Which, if you don't mind swimming in the lake and in the bay, is no big deal. But it also had like its own little side cottage, so you could have guests and they could stay in their own place, which I always like. I think it's always nice. The main house, I guess, is only 3 bedrooms, so this would be a good situation to actually have a separate cottage. And the number 1 house. So this one was located again in this little on the water, an hour from Baltimore and DC, and it just had a little bit more entertainment factor going on to it. It had a little putting green. It had a nice pool, a little putting green. The kitchen area I liked better. It was has a very modern setup, and it had a separate bar entertainment area. The paint in some rooms is a little much. Some of the decorations. So I like the color, but I could see how some people wouldn't like it. It had an outdoor kind of, I wouldn't call it tiki bar, but like a little bar area, and it had all this outdoor seating, and it's got a tennis court, which is lit and with a basketball goal set up on there. It's got an outdoor chess set, which of course everybody wants. Every well-to-do person should have an outdoor chess set. I don't think they have the squares marked. It has, I guess, these chairs here to watch the fire pit, and it has an outdoor grill here too. A few points off for not having that covered. I don't know why you wouldn't put the grill on the tiki bar, but whatever. But this is a good setup just to have everybody over and serve everybody up. And it has a urinal, so it's classy. But anyway, I just and they have a ping pong table, so that of course puts them to the top of the list. It has a separate workout area, so you could have people here, and you'd have plenty of room for everybody, and have all these different entertainment options. You'd be on the water, and yet be close to DC and Baltimore. It was just kind of a nice combination of things. So, like I said, some of these colors are definitely, you get to pick your own color. But it just had all these decks, so you could just have just host big parties, and I think that'd be lots and lots and lots and lots of fun. So anyway, so there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day or night. Next up is New York, which is the last state We've done 49 states so far. So I hope you're doing well, and take care.